up, guys? Jason Garman here, and tonight we're going to talk about Christmas lights. How much does it cost to start a Christmas light business? Some people might say 500. Some people might say 2 grand. Some people spend 10 grand. Some people spend 25 grand. Some people spend 100 grand because they buy a franchise, and then they usually go out of business. But we're not going to talk about franchises. We're going to talk about how much does it cost, and how do you what are some of the costs, and break down the cost of what does it actually cost to run a Christmas light business. I know a lot of times people are like, Jason, it's only $1.50 for the bulb and the wire, but they forget about the clips. They forget about the males and the females and the extension cord and gas and website and insurance and other types of insurance and other types of insurance and payroll tax and all the great things that go along with running a Christmas light business. And so, with that, we're going to talk a little bit about what you need to do and how to grow a business. I'm also going to break down a little bit about how to get business, because that's something that I know that is the most important thing at the end of the day, is how do you get business? Because if you don't get business, it doesn't matter what you pay or what you do, you're going to go broke. So, with that, book of the week, Endless Customers. You know, Marcus Sheraton shared at the huge convention this weekend. It was awesome. I didn't get to go myself, but I know Jason Hefner went, and Andrew. He got a picture with Mr. Marcus, and Mr. Marcus actually put him on LinkedIn. If you haven't checked out that post on LinkedIn, go check out Marcus Sheridan's post on LinkedIn, where Andrew was on his photo and talking about the button business. And so it was really cool to see how somebody that I taught in Florida about pressure washing 5 years ago, how that has impacted his son's life, and that was able to get a picture with Mr. Marcus Sheridan. And so that's one reason why I want to hit this book is awesome. I've read this book 2 times already, and I think you should read it. It's a really good book if you want to grow your business. And I was actually learning this today, because I don't just go on here and act like I know everything, because I don't know everything, and I still learn. And one of the classes I was taking talks about SEO and AEO answers, and how that is what a lot of the AIs are going to, and the new AI mode for Google, and some of the things that it's going to look like in the future. And yes, I try to stay up to date with it, because if you don't, you will get left behind. If you keep doing the same things you did 5 years ago, it changes, and it's changing a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. So we got Kate. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone is doing good. Kate, are you the young gentleman that I met at the huge, that's the baseball player, and it's like you and 2 or 3 of your buddies starting a business? I can't remember if that's you or not, but if it is, how are you doing? We got 524 window cleaning and holiday lining, 32-foot ladder, and some yard signs. Yep, that's pretty much what you need, right? Thank you for all the knowledge you put out. I'm starting year 3 installing, and provided all the inclusive service learned from you. Awesome. You may have learned it from me, but you are taking action, and that is the most important part of running this business. And that is why people don't always get the taking action part and setting it to what you need to do. And that is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about it, right? When most people think of starting a Christmas light picture, they think of climbing a ladder and installing lights, and that's all you have to do. And that's like that's the easiest part of this whole job. Yes, you got to worry about falling off of a roof, and yes, that can be tough. But if we don't get the phone to ring, if we don't do the other things, then it's going to cause you to not be able to grow your Christmas light business. And here's the thing. Let's start off of how much does it cost? Can you get on my YouTube channel and learn everything you need to know about Christmas lights and start this business and run this business and be successful? And the answer is yes, you can. I've actually had people do it, make very well. And so yes, you can definitely do this. Can you start this business and come to one of my in-person trainings or online trainings and going to help you grow faster? And the answer is yes, 100%. And so this is what I would tell you, right? I've had people come to my in-person training, and you don't have to, and I don't care if you do or not, but this is what I will say. If you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to scale your business, if you're trying to start your Christmas light business, then if you come to the in-person training, I will promise you you will learn systems, and I promise you will learn other things. But in the end, have I put all of this out in free? And the answer is yes. I have it on my YouTube page, I have it on my website, I have it on my blog. It's going to be on my new site that's coming out here shortly. I'm hoping by September. I'm not hoping. I'm going to make sure September 1. I'm trying to fight to get it done by September 1. But yes, you can. And because here's the thing, I want you to grow your business and be successful. That is what I want you to do. And so here is the thing. So, training, is it worth it? Absolutely. How about tools? What tools do we need? Well, in all honesty, you don't need any tools starting out. Go sell some jobs and go get your deposits. Then you can buy your lights and you can buy your supplies and materials in ladder safety. And so these are some things that you need to be able to do. You know, would I love you to go buy $10,000 worth of lights right out of the get go and buy lights? Yes, 100%. But here's here's the truth. I don't want you to do that if you don't know how to get customers. I have seen too many people go buy a bunch of lights and then they don't sell the lights, they don't make money, and they go broke. And then they're like, Jason, you said, and I will tell you, I have never said to go buy lights. You can go buy lights all you want. And I want you to go buy lights, right? Go to christmaslights.io and buy lights. I want you to. It helps me out. It helps. You can have these amazing lights. If nothing else, you can have an amazing light on your house. So, yes, the lights and supplies, we are going to ask for a 50% deposit to get on the schedule. And this is what we can use for that. Now, if you have money to spend in your Christmas light business, if you want to spend some $5,000 to $10,000. This is where you need to spend your money on. You need to spend your money in marketing costs. How do we get the phone to ring? How do we get more phone calls? And I don't see people going out of business because they're not getting the phone to ring. 9 times out of 10, why people go out of business is because they don't know how to get the phone to ring. So, what are some ways to get the phone to ring? Well, if you're broke, there's this thing called Facebook. And yes, you can make a lot of money off of Facebook. You can start posting now and start building your audience. You can start posting in groups, in Facebook groups, and it literally costs you nothing, $0. Now, it does cost you something because it's going to cost you time. But in the end, I promise you it will work. Now, if you try to post once a week, it's not going to work. If you try to post once a day, it's probably not going to work. This is something that you're going to have to post 4, 5, 10 times a day. And yes, I will tell you from my honest opinion from now, what the test I've been doing, if you post 10 times a day and you post different things and you start doing this, it's going to start working for you and it's going to do very well for you. And so these are things that you need to do to be able to grow your business. Again, is it easy? It's not really hard, but do you have to take action? And the answer is absolutely yes. You have to take action. So, Facebook is free, Facebook groups is free, Facebook mom groups, that's where your money groups are. And that is free also. Now, it might be hard to get in that one if you don't have a wife or a spouse to get you into that one. But that is one way. The next way is another free way of getting business. This is a way that I know somebody that's got about 5 to 600 jobs doing it this way, and this is year 2. And you know what that is? Is door knocking. He went out and paid a crew of 5 to 6 people to door knock. And here's the thing: he door knocked for he's already done door knocking. He's not even door knocking now because he's already scheduled up pretty much. And so door knocking is another way that you can get business for free or whatever it costs to pay them. But a lot of times you can do this and it doesn't cost you hardly anything, and you actually getting paid on your deposits, so that's a way that you can pay your door knocker. So door knocker is another way that you can get a some money for doing this. Again, totally free, doesn't cost you a thing. Only thing it does is it costs you some exercise. And so you get to go walk around, and this is another way that you can grow your business of starting a Christmas light business. Again, doesn't cost you a thing. Now, here's one of my favorites is yard signs, right? Yard signs work amazing. Yes, they can get you in trouble. Yes, it isn't legal in every city. In fact, I would say it's probably illegal in every city that you do it. It's probably in their policies, but it's up to them if they are going to enforce it. And so, do you know if that's in your area? You do, you don't until you try. Is there ways to get around that too? Well, kind of. But that is another way that you can do this. And so, yard signs, Google ads, Facebook ads, Facebook ads have done fairly well for a lot of people in the Christmas light business and getting new customers. Will you get a lot of door or tire kickers? And the answer is yes. You will get a lot of tire kickers, but that's okay. You can do it. You can get through it, and that is awesome way to do it. I sold 5 jobs with a 50% deposit and got the starter 1,000 foot. Easiest way to start. And yes, I would agree with that, right? The starter kits make it very easy to make sure you got everything that you need. You don't have to worry about other things for that. Now, something else you will need. You won't need it right yet, but you will need it when you start installing, and that is insurance, right? Insurance is something that is general liability, and this is something that you want to make sure that you get before you start hanging lights in October, November. So this is definitely something that you can do. Now, what are some hidden costs? What are the hidden costs that we don't always think about? And I forgot to talk about a website. And yes, you will need a website, and that will help your Google business profile. You need to get your Google business profile. You need to get reviews. Reviews definitely help you out a bunch too. So get some reviews, get some of those. That'll help you get a lot. Because what I will tell you is this isn't like any other service. If you can get you 50 reviews or 100 reviews in your Christmas light business, you will probably be the number one ranked for this having the most reviews in your area for Christmas light service. I'm not talking about pressure washing. I'm not talking about any of these other services. I'm talking about Christmas lights, right? Christmas lights is one way that you can do that. Timers and extra SBT wire, yes, and extra females for sure. So, what are some of the hidden costs? Well, how much does it cost to get there, right? How much fuel? How much maintenance in that? How much vehicle maintenance? What about safety equipment? What about downtime? Are you paying your guys hourly or are you paying them by the job? Because if you're paying them hourly, you have to pay them from the time they leave the shop to the time they get back. And so, how much does that cost you in the end? And so, these are all things that we have to start looking at of what does it cost? When you start hiring people, you got payroll tax, you got all kinds of awesome things that you have to pay. And I will tell you this, when you start making more money, everybody wants their hand in the pot. Your insurances are going to go up, your payroll tax is going to go up. All of these things are going to go up, and this is something that you have to really start looking at. What does it cost you? I was talking to a good friend of mine that's a business owner just today, and he was talking about knowing your numbers. And I told him, I'm like, most people in this business don't know their numbers. They don't know how much it costs him to run a day. They don't know why Jason tells them to charge $8 to $12 a foot because they don't know their numbers. Well, Jason, I only working 4 months out of the year, but did you know that there's people that work 4 months out of the year and that's all they work and they don't work no other job? Yeah, there is, and that's pretty cool of how you can do this, right? And so, as I think back to some students that I've had and how much they have spent to start their Christmas light business and how much money they have made over the years, it's pretty cool. You know, I think about Sam Else. Sam Else came to one of my Christmas light classes about 3 or 4 years ago. He brought him and two of his employees plus his wife. And so they had three employees plus him. And so they had a little bit of cost. It cost them $3 or $4,000 to get there. And his very first year, he did over $250,000, right? And so that is what can happen when you start growing a business and start building the systems right out of the get go. Now, you might say, well, I don't have 4 or 5 employees, let alone what am I supposed to do? Well, let's take somebody else, Daniel, since I see him, he just commented, right? Daniel started his Christmas light business 3 years ago, and it was him and one other guy. And the other guy got on the roof. And he did $179,000 his first year. But it's one of those things that do I have people that don't hit 100,000? Absolutely. Do I have people that trying to hit 100,000? Absolutely. Have I had several people hit 100,000 their first year? Absolutely. And so that's what I want you to do to be able to grow your business. Because if you can make $100,000, and let's just say you got $50,000 in costs, right? Marketing, let's just say that's still pretty good at the end of the year. And so these are all things that what you can do to be able to grow this business and start this business and take action right out of the get go. So, is starting small possible and scaling up each year? And the answer is yes. You're going to learn things this year that you didn't know last year, or you're going to get better this year than you was last year, right? When Daniel started last year, he didn't have he had a brand new guy. And by the end of the season, that brand new guy was his main guy. And that main guy is coming back this year. Now, do you think his start of the season is going to start out a lot faster because of that? And the answer is yes, because you ain't got to just take the start and start out from nothing. And so these are all things that you can do to make sure that you're doing it. And then budget realistic, right? But go look at how much maybe the starter pack is. Go look and see how much money you need for ladders and cougar paws and pitch hoppers and ladders, right? Go look and ladder standoffs. How much is that all going to cost you? And then go invest in good lights, good quality lights. Don't buy junk lights. Don't go to Home Depot and buy the cheap, crappy lights because you're going to get callbacks. And when you get callbacks, how much money did you really save by going buying those cheap, crappy lights? And this is something that I see a lot, but it is definitely something that you want to start thinking about and doing. So I just I think that if you were starting out and if it was me, I would look at how much do I want to make. If you want to make $100,000, don't go spend $10,000 in materials because materials is going to go not very good for you. If you go spend $10,000 in material, you're not going to make $100,000. But if you go out there and spend $10,000 in marketing, there's a pretty good chance you're going to do 100 grand. Not guaranteed, but there's a pretty doggone good chance that you could make 100 grand off of it. Now, is it going to be easy? No. Running a Christmas light business is probably one of the stressfulest business I've ever ran because when you got 4 trucks running out the door every day, and each one's putting up 600 to 1,000 foot of lights every day. So you're putting out 3 to 4 thousand feet of lights every day. It's very stressful. Plus, you're dealing with the phone calls. Plus, you're dealing with the employees didn't take what they needed. Plus, you're dealing with just a lot of crap. And you know what? It is very stressful. I can't tell you one Christmas light business owner that's like, I love Christmas lights. It's not stressful at all. Because if there is, they're lying to you because it is very stressful. There's a lot of things going on. You're in a very short period, right? You only have so much work that you can get done in a very short period. And that is a lot of stress, right? That's a lot of stress. And the bigger you get, the stressful it gets, right? You got people coming in, you got people going out, you got material coming in, you thought you ordered a material and you didn't and you don't have it, and so it definitely makes it very tough in the end. So my cat here wants to see you on video up there. uh, so I throw him back down, but that is definitely something that you have to look at when you're doing it. Let's see. I've seen some good questions up here. If you all have questions for Christmas lights, or I don't care, marketing, pressure washing, put them in the comments. I want to answer your questions and stuff. I sold 5 jobs with 50% deposit and got the starter pack 1,000 feet easiest way to start. Get extra timers and extra SBT wire and extra females because you're going to use a lot more females and a lot more extension cord than what you think you're going to need. I'm reading Endless Customers by the Ask You Answer guy, Marcus Sheridan, if you didn't know. Great book. He suggests being open with your prices on the website. Helps pre-qualified and build transparency and trust. And I know what he's talking about there. And I think that's not a bad idea. I think that it's how you do it and how you write it is what you can do. And it's one that you don't have to be like a 300 square foot house is this here. You could write it as there's different factors in cost. And, as I was listening to this thing that I was doing today, it's more about building trust and it's also more about using the AI because the AI is going out there and finding this stuff, right? And so that's why this book with the questions and answers is so big with SEO and it's so big because AI is coming. If you didn't know it, AI is coming. Like there's a lot that's coming with AI. I don't know if I can my screen if it's going to work or not. I'll try it here. Nope, that isn't it. So here's AI in AI mode. Literally, it's already getting half the, it was just a little icon like this. It's getting bigger and bigger. And so if you click on AI mode, it, there goes a lot of the stuff. So let's do Christmas lights installer, Lexington, Kentucky. So you're going to see here how it is changing of what it looks like, right? We don't have what it looks like. So trim light is number one. And best top decorated services near Lexington and Bengal Premier Partner. We begin. So you can see here are some highly recommended. These companies offer comprehensive services, including design, installation, maintenance. Kentucky Christmas Lights specializes in holiday lighting, reviews, customers praise the company. Light Up Lexington, a local company, and even the phone number, past, present. You got two of the right here, so you can see how much this is changing, right? Bluegrass Christmas light installers, but you can see that this is changing a lot. We got good old Window Genie, Lexington Christmas lighting, and then now we got the maps down here. But even though that we have the maps down here, we don't have the stuff underneath here, right? And so these are things that we got to look at, that how much is this going to change when we are talking about doing this here. So let's go one more, and I'll just go for my pressure washing people. Pressure washing Cincinnati. And so we're going to go through it and we'll see what it says. So Power Pro Washing is highly rated. Um, we have, and look here, I'll show you something else, right? Here's your favorites right here is Yelp. So Yelp is coming up, and so that is, something that you got to think about. Sudsy's Pressure Washing, that's a big franchise that is over here. And so it is going to change. Pressure Wash Cincinnati. What about this? This is my company. This is still going off with it. Pressure Wash Cincinnati. This is my company. I haven't touched this Google My Business since 2018, 2017, and it's still coming up number two. It has 130 reviews. ProFlow Pressure Washing, Spruce Home Services, Sudsy's, West Side Pressure Washing. So here is the Google Maps are starting to look different, right? These were the Google Maps in the past. So these are looking a lot different than what they used to look like. So what to hire? So that the questions are getting different, right? These are all questions that you don't have links anymore. Like there's no links to these websites at all, and so these are all things that are changing with AI. And so when is it all going to change over to AI mode? I don't know. I'm going to assume it's probably pretty soon, because if you look at the AI stuff, it's getting like 30 and 40% of the clicks already. And so it's only going to get more and more. You got ChatGPT, you have Perplexity, you have Gemini, you have all of these AIs out there that is taking over the market of the side of the market side of it. So it's going to change the industry. It's just going to change the way things look in the industry as we move. And so it's not something that I'm trying to make a scare here. I'm just telling you that it is going to change in the industry. I've got two Jasons talking. How do I shut down? So again, that's AI mode, right? And so sometimes we think, oh, that's not going to change. Well, it's kind of is going to change. And it's kind of back here to this question here of endless customers. Of what some things that you can do. The new AI isn't showing a lot of videos, but there is a lot of videos and other things that you can do. I know my numbers to exact cent due to ChatGPT. Such an amazing tool. 38% close rate and proud of it. Premium pricing. That's pretty awesome, Jeremy. That's really awesome. Good timers. Um, yes, I took your advice and now have Pedro as the install and inventory manager. It's going to be awesome to have him more responsible so that I can focus on selling more jobs and helping fill girls. That's a lot of lights. What was your biggest job? Hmm, I don't know. We had some big ones. We had some big HOAs. One HOA, we did like 30 or 40 freaking trees and a bunch of wreaths and all kinds of stuff up on the other side of Loveland. And it took the first time took almost a week to get it done, but we got it down to 3 days to get it done. So how many yard signs do you think it would take to get 175 to 100 customers? Um, I guess the question is how much is your average ticket for those customers? I think that if you put out 500 to 1,000, and let's just say if you go on an average ticket of 1,500 to $2,000 per average ticket, that's where you would want to be at. I just got my Google back. Otherwise, I'd be number one. Don't you love that? Wow, that Map Pack GMB is gone in AI mode. And that's why I wanted to hit on this, right? Because sometimes you know, we don't stay up with times or we don't pay attention because we're working and it's changing. And that's why I want to hit on it a little bit. It is changing. It is changing. It is changing. And so this is some things that you have to think about when we are trying to grow our business. If you're getting a lot off of Google, you didn't see no Google ads. I don't know where they're going to put the Google ads at. I don't know. I'm sure they will because that's a part of their money. And I'm sure they haven't got that figured out yet. But that is some things that we need to think about. You know, there's no Google ads. There's no Google guarantee of this. So these are all things to look at when we're thinking about what is the future going to hold for this. Like I say, I'm sure that the ads will come. I'm surprised ChatGPT, Gemini, all of these perplexities, I'm surprised they haven't came up with their ad section. So I think the biggest thing is Google isn't as big as it once was, right? I think that more and more people are moving to different ways of searching stuff. And so when that happens, that took away from Google because Google was kind of the last one to the AI show because they didn't want this, right? They're going to start losing money from it. I'm kind of excited about it. Pull pull that AI page up and answer those questions everywhere and build stuff out. The AI is getting its off season, going to reward hard workers. And if you read this book, that's exactly basically what I'm telling you, right? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Because he talks about AI in here, but it's changing. Like AI is changing so fast. Like it is changing so fast that it's unbelievable how fast it is changing. You know, what used to be where you couldn't even make videos, now you can make full blown videos off of VO3 out of Gemini, right? And so these are things that you can do, or Google Flow. And so these are all things that you couldn't do not too long ago. And that is the crazy part about this. What should I offer to pay my installers? I'm getting conflicting data. Well, I know people that charge 80 cents a foot. I know people that charge a dollar a foot. I know people that charge $30 a foot. I know people that pay $15 a foot. You're probably not going to find many people at $15 a foot, but there's a lot of different ways that you can pay. I personally, if I was running a business, I would do it per foot, right? I would be 80 to a dollar a foot to install and 25 cents to 30 cents to take down because that way you know your cost. And here's the thing. and that's per 2-man crew. Like a dollar a foot is a 2-man crew, and they have to split that because a good 2-man crew can put up 800 to 1,000 feet of lights in a day. It might be a 10-hour day, but even at 10-hour day, 800 lights, that's $400 a piece. That's still $200. So they're not making, or that's $400 a piece, right? At 800 lights, that's $400 a piece. And that's pretty good money for anybody out there. And so you will get a lot more work done because of doing it that way. Plus, I know what my cost is. Because if you're paying someone 25, 30 bucks an hour, there's no guarantee that they're going to work very fast. They're probably going to do 3 jobs a day and they're going to be done because that's what they're going to do. There's no incentive for them to work faster. And even if they do work faster, and even if they do get that fourth and fifth job done, they're going to be on overtime on top of it. So not only on their regular time, but then they're going to get overtime. So now you're not paying them 25 bucks an hour. Now you're paying them 40 bucks an hour. And they may not even be working much at that point. So that's the other thing. How does that work with minis? I was told a percentage isn't legal. Um, I mean, it is. You can pay a percentage, and here's the biggest thing with it is you still have to track the time that they're there, and they have to make at least minimum wage with overtime. Like so, if if they suck and they don't do very good, and they get to they work 10 hours and they got to at least make whatever minimum wage is at that point. So that's how a percentage can work with it. And same way with that's I mean percentage is what I used to pay my guys through the pressure washing businesses. We did percentage. Percentage is a little bit harder on Christmas nights because again, you'll do better as the foot and you'll get more installed per foot that way. So that's how that works. Minis and trees. I know some people pay per strand, so they'll pay $5 per strand. They'll pay $1 per strand. Some pay whatever you might want to do for the strands of light. So, if they're doing a column and it takes three strands, they're there for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and they can get a column done. So it kind of depends on how you want to do it. Obviously, if you pay per foot, you're probably going to want to be on the job because you want to make sure that it is getting done and it is getting done efficient and fast. Otherwise, they will take their sweet time and not get much done for you. So that's kind of where you want to be for your Christmas lights. So, what other questions do you all have? Um, you know, I think this year is going to be an amazing year for Christmas lights. And I just don't say that to say that. Here's why I think that this year is going to be an amazing year for Christmas lights. And one of the reasons is because I know people are already selling now. Like I've seen some big jobs get closed already in 2025. And when I mean big jobs, I mean six-figure jobs, not no little jobs of $2,000 jobs. Yes, I've seen some little jobs of $2,000 jobs, but I've talked to people and I know people that have closed $80,000 jobs, $120,000 jobs, and I feel like it's going to be a really good year because I see a lot of it. The other thing too is yes, it is getting chilly already, and that is a good thing because whenever it gets cold early, we'll get people thinking about Christmas. When it stays 80 and 90 degrees all the way up till December, nobody's thinking about Christmas when it's 90 degrees in November or 80 degrees in November, especially us up here in the north. Down in the south, that's just normal, but we're not normal up here normally. So these are things that we would look at. I always loved when it would snow one time in October because then people would be like, "Ooh, it must be Christmas," so they'll start putting up Christmas stuff. This seems like it would be hard to track. It's not because you got to make sure that they're counting it, and that way you're counting, and then and you want to make sure that they're honest counting because otherwise you can get screwed. But you can kind of see that by how many lights did they take versus how many did they install. So that's kind of how you can do it. And you kind of know what you bid. So if they're like, yeah, this house took 300 lights, and you're like, I only bid this house for 100. Something ain't right here, right? So that's kind of where you are. And also, don't forget, I mean, most people know this, but I don't also don't want you to forget that if you're using 15-inch spacing, then you're not paying them per bulb because you're paying them per foot. So if you're going to pay them per bulb at that point, you got to remember that it's every 15 inches, and so every 100 feet, it's only 80 bulbs instead of $100. It would only be $80. So I don't want you to screw your guys out either. So just something to think about: 15-inch versus um, 12-inch spacing. Um, if you need any Christmas lights, you can go to christmaslight.io. Take off the S. And I am working on that website, and it's going to be a different website by September 1st. I'm going to keep saying it to make it happen. And if you want to know, you know what? I didn't put that out. That might be why I didn't get a lot of people on here tonight. I forgot to text everybody. If you want to know when I go live, you can text the word light, LITE, to 855-619-5483. If you have any questions, you can text this number and I will respond back pretty quickly. If you can call this one, and if I'm not busy, I'm trying to answer the phone as much as possible, but text is my preferred method if you don't mind. Text me on this number and I will shoot you back anything I can help you with. So if you need Christmas lights, if you need questions, if you have questions at all, if you have questions about permanent lighting, I think that as much as I know people hate it, I think permanent lighting you're gonna see more and more about permanent lighting. So permanent lighting is definitely going to start taking off, I believe. Is it a fad? I have no idea. But what I will tell you is that a permanent lighting, I've seen it more and more coming out in this year. Did you say which type of sealer you would like better, the water-based or the high VOC? I personally like the high VOC, but a lot of times you can't get that in a lot of states. I know in Ohio you couldn't get it. We always had to get it down here in Kentucky. So that's why I like the high VOC. If it's illegal, it's probably because it works better, in my opinion. Also, random, how big was your shop? I'm out of space and I'm looking at a 2,000 square foot. So to be able to hold seven or four trucks and all of this stuff, we were it was like, I believe it was a 7,000 square feet shop is where we were at. It had a lot of offices that wasn't used though. So we could have used less office space and more shop space, but that's where we were at. I'm seeing more permanent lighting in my area. I know. And I know some people have already said that they're calling about permanent lights. So if you want to put up permanent lights and you want an app that is super easy, Invisalite is the app that you want. It is super duper easy. It isn't challenging. In the past, I know the old app was kind of tough. And honestly, I have not had any callbacks on any of our lights other than the old app. And I've had like three callbacks on the old app. The new app is super simple. Um, Super simple. It's very user friendly. It's not difficult at all. So if you want to check out permanent lights, give me a call, give me a text. I'll walk you through some of it. I'll help you in any way I can. If you've got a building that you're trying to bid, or you want a job and you need help getting the material list, let me know. I will walk you through it and help you get the material list for your permanent lights. I think this is going to be something you're going to get more and more of it. Now, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Wow, that's big. So, what's your all's goal this year? I know that I've talked for the last 45 minutes, but what is your all's goal? How much are you shooting for this year? And not only how much are you shooting for, but what are you going to do to get there? What are you going to do for marketing? What are you going to do to get the phone to ring? What systems do you need to put in place this year? Do you know? Or are you just starting out? You know, systems are very important in growing this Christmas light business because systems help keep the chaos down, right? Remember me telling you about how crazy and stressful this is? By having good systems will help you grow your business. By making sure that you have the materials that you need will help you grow your business. By having the marketing material that you need will help you grow your business. And so these are systems that we need to put in place. You know, if you hit maybe 25, 30,000, what, a week? Um, and so with that, what are some things that you need to do to get going in building these systems out? Do you have checklists to make sure that your people are able to do this? Or are you hoping and praying? 150,000, 75 clients, 63 new clients, got my CRM truly set up. Are you going to be doing a permanent light class in the future? The answer is yes. I've actually got a and if you christmaslights.io/IPT, I actually have two of them this year. So I have one in September is the 1st of September. It's like the second or third week in September. And then I have one in October. And both of them, I will be talking about permanent lights. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up to where you'll be able to put them up as temporary. So they got some new clips coming out that we will be able to put them up temporary. And so these are some pretty cool things that we will be able to do to grow this thing and to be able to put them up. I know some of my Washington guys are dealing with some crap with installs of dealing with the installs where you can't do cutting the stuff. So it's it's one of those things that you got to start looking at. I'd like to double the amount of residential jobs. I've been calling and emailing for commercials for 3 to 4 months. Don't have a number in revenue. One big commercial could change it big time. For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. But other than that, again, if you need anything, text me, call me, whatever you need to do. I want to help you grow your business. I was on a call today for 10 or 15 minutes. I will take my time out of my day to help you grow your business because when you have success and when I get to see your kid get a picture with Marcus Sheridan, that's pretty freaking amazing. Right? And so he's a cool dude. He's one of probably the best speakers I've seen in a long time and a down to earth dude. And so it's really cool to be able to see him and see him with Andrew, Jason helping them grow their business. So if you need anything, text me, call me, email me. You can email me, Jason at christmaslights.io. If you need anything, I will help you. If you need help setting up and knowing how much track you need, all of that, let me know what all you need to get it. But other than that, hope to see you come to one of my in-person training, christmaslights.io/IPT. It's a lot of fun. I think I'm up to about 9 or 10 people for this next class. So it's small. It's not like we got big class. It is hands-on. You will get to install Christmas lights on a house, not just look at it. You will get to install permanent lights, and then not only that, you get the good part of doing the maintenance side of things, so of the permanent lights. And if you come to the one in September, I have a special guest. I talk about him all the time. His name's Rick Newsy. He's an amazing guy. He's old, but he's amazing. He does very well for himself. Hopefully, we're not going to. Hopefully, he will hit $100,000 in Christmas lights this year, and so that's who is coming this year. So, if you want to come in September, you get to meet Rick, and you can hear. You won't have to worry about being picked on that weekend because usually I pick on Rick for the weekend. So you don't even have to worry about that. But no, I do it with love, and he's an awesome dude. And he he got a big job last night and worked all night, uh, and so that was pretty awesome. So, with that, I hope you all have an amazing night, an amazing week, and other than that, I'll see you all later.